Hello friend, welcome to the second part of programming IPL in MATLAB series. In the first part we saw how we could get the IPL T20 web page within the MATLAB. We analyzed a list of 100 most runs among the players within the IPL 2020 season at the stage of this recording, and we were able to fetch the data using that. So I am opening the website again. I'll open the web page source for the reference. While this thing opens, I'll also run the code in MATLAB. So we were able to receive 100 different cells, and each cell contains the players based on string splitting due to TR class GS row. Now, if within the last video I wasn't able to discuss about the str split when it was launched, so let me open the documentation for that for your reference. Now, in this video we are going to extensively use str split to split our web page or this web code into multiple parts. How this str split is working is, you have the string. This string is containing all the codes and parameters. You are just trying to observe what are those parameters, what are those values, and based on those delimiter, that is when it should split, we are going to define the values. This function str split was launched in 2013E. So as discussed earlier, str split is something which, if in case you are already able to use WebRead, this str split should also work in your system. Now jumping back to this table. So the first thing which I want to detect from the player is the nationality. Now I am referring this portion again. The important parameters which I am going to store in our data set is going to be the nationality. Either it is going to be an Indian player or it is going to be an overseas. I noticed whenever each player is being represented, they are being distinguished with some team numbers, team ID 4162. So, and this number is actually repeating also. If this number is repeating, that does mean that the IPL T20 website have created their own structure of what code to be given to a particular team. For example, if KKR is coming, so let me use the keyword KKR. This is having the keyword of 5. So let me use this to copy and see. Now each time a player of KKR is coming, it's using the same team ID, which is 5. So that means this could be taken as a reference. I won't be going forward directly taking the name KKR. I'll get the team ID as a way to distinguish, and then I'll create a new function to process the ID into the name of the team. Post that, we are going to take the name of the player. Once the name is received, team is already obtained, so we can simply jump on to match innings, not out, runs, highest score, average, ball phase, strike rate, hundreds, 50s, 4s, 6s, etc. Once you are able to do this thing, I guess you would get an idea how to process a web page. The same thing will be applicable even for others. The keyword might be different, so your job would be just to obtain that web page. You would notice what is their web page source, is there any different element to that, and you can create your own code according to that, defining in that parameter. So jumping to our first player, which was KL Rahul, as of now, at this recording time, the first player is this one. If in case you are watching it, maybe you are trying with a different version of IPL, and if you are trying to compare the first player, you are just going to use top player as our first string splitter. Okay, so you are going to begin with the data nationality. Let's start with a for loop. we are going to take, let's say, into I containing data starting from first till the length of data, and let me define or let me get the portion of data over here into a string. Okay, so doing this, what I am able to process is, each time my data has been processed, we are just going to add, or we are going to process the next data into that. The few things which we are going to need, I'll just add them with respect to comments. So one is going to be nationality, then I'm going to process the team ID, then I'm going to process the name. I'll just keep on adding these parameters from the website: match, innings, not out, runs, highest score, average, ball face, strike rate, hundreds, 50s, 4s and 6s, 100, 50s, 4s, 6s. So I have added lots of comments, so this would keep giving me an idea what part has been covered and which part is pending. So the first thing we are going to begin is going to be the nationality, and we can clearly see that data nationality is the keyword or the delimiter over here. So let's use keyword along with str as split, and we have this string over here which is being processed, and let's assign it currently into the temp variable, temporary. So just like previous video, within this video as well, I'll keep on processing my string. While I'm analyzing, I'll treat that as a temporary variable. But if I am ready to, like, temporary variable are those variable which I'll be ready to discard. But if I am trying to trim my string, that is the new string which is after the processed value, I'll rename that temp variable back to str, so that every time my string is getting trimmed into only the essential part. So if I am running it, let me add one parameter, let's say a printf. So I just say player %d is processed, and this is just for the sake of testing, not required. If you once you are done, we will just remove this line. So this number is player I. So over here, if I am running it, I'll add a breakpoint at this point. So I'm running this with the breakpoint added. Now let's see what is temp storing. Temp contains first thing as kxip. So this kxip we don't need, we are trying to look for the Indian. The delimiter next is string, string quote, and then new line character. So what we can do is we can use one more string splitter this time. Consider that temp str split, and that's the second cell of it. Since we are discarding the first one, let me directly go with this version, str of 2, and this should give me this portion is being taken as my delimiter, and let's run it again. So using this icon, we were able to distinguish lots, and we received lots of data this time. Now just think of it in this way: if I would have used instead of temp, I would have used string again, So my string would have already been divided into multiple parts, and I don't want that to happen as of now. I just want to get my first element. So I am going to assign nationality as my first element, so that is going to be temp of 1. And since we are going to have multiple terms, let's go ahead with a struct. So let's create a struct in the beginning itself of the loop. For those who don't know what exactly struct is, you can just use the documentation. So struct allows us to create a structure array with allowance of multiple fields. We are going to use name, player, match, and there could be different fields altogether for that. This struct has been launched in 2006, I guess. Yes, 2006. So it should work in most of the systems. And to define the structure over here, I'll use s.nationality. Let's just see if it's working. Okay, let me just correct this word. So struct created with the field nationality and Indian assigned to it. Now this portion is done. So you got the first data. Let's just copy the code for the time period and let's see what could be the next terminology. After the nationality, the next term or the delimiter is data team ID. So I have copied that part, and let's change this over here. At this moment, when we were using the string 2, we are going to use the string 2 over here as well. So the string first part was going to be discarded, and that would not be of any use further. So that directly use the string 2. Same way as we did for the player over here. After 4 there is this icon of string. So let's just use the same pattern and let's assign this to the team ID. Let's see if the data is coming or not. Alright, cool. So see, you have received the nationality and you have received the team ID. Both the things are done. However, the team ID is coming as a character array. So if you want to get it as a numerical format, you could have used string to number as a function to that. And now this is in the numeric format. See, it was very easy, correct? Now you have received the nationality as well as the team ID. Two things are done. Next thing is finding the name. So name is going to be in the string format, obviously, and I can see that each time name is going to be delimited by the alt character. So I'm using this alt equal and this sign for my delimiter, and we are just going to continue our process in the similar patterns. So let's see if we are getting our name properly. Name KL Rahul headshot. Now in this side, that is on the right hand side of the name, the delimiter is not directly the string ending quote, it is adding the word headshot. So I'll add this into my delimiting portion and let's run this, and the name is coming properly as KL Rahul. So I'm again repeating that this is based on my current statistics as of the time of the recording. If you are doing it at some different time, the data may change. So make sure that you are trying to analyze based on the, whatever the data you are getting is based on the current scenario. So we have received the name, we have got the team ID. Next thing is finding out match, innings, and all those numeric form factors this time. Alright, so the string is getting splitted with the portion of top players, padded and all. So let me use this. And what we are going to do is I'll just copy this code again and change my delimiter with this. Our delimiter has been changed. However, you would notice that after this delimiter the data is going into the new line. So I'll do one thing, I'll add a breakpoint at this moment and I'll show you what I really mean. Once I process this, what would be the value of string? Let's see that. So string 2 has been analyzed and this thing is of no use, KL Rahul headshot. So this thing has already been received. In this portion over here, that is the further string, you get, if you see this portion, you are beginning with a new line, like the data is directly not coming up over here. So if in case you are looking for the new line, you can add it over here with /n. So for example, I'm running it again, and if I show you the data, sorry, string 2, now this is in the same line, and again we just need to analyze what is, how exactly this is being going into the further. So next delimiter. So now if I have used the string 2 over here, for me the way of splitting again should be /n. Let's see what would be the value of this time. Let's add a breakpoint over here this time and let's run it. So what is the value of our temp1? Temp1 contains a string 7. Let's just convert it into number. And let's see. So okay, so I think I have not changed it over here. So I have changed it now and running it again. Indian player, team ID 4, name and match. So now you have been able to achieve this number of matches played. Once you have achieved this thing, it's too easy now. You are just going to utilize these keywords and you are just going to repeat it. So let's just quickly do this thing. I'll just copy this portion of the code and I'll just change it. This is for inning. So inning is happening with the delimitation character, and let's change it. Let me do one thing. I'll just remove these things and change it directly over here. So for not out, we are going to do this thing. We need to change that. So just for the sake of doing it quickly, I am running it. This is highest score. This is going to be average. This is going to be the ball faced. This is going to be the strike rate. Then you have hundreds. A variable name cannot start with numeric form factor. So what I'm going to do is I'll just mention 100 directly like this. So since we don't want to flood our command window, I'll just keep on adding the semicolons. And let's fill out the proper delimitation. So it has been done till innings. So now we have done it for not out. Same way, this is I think for runs scored, then your highest score, then it should be the average, then it will be bold-faced, strike rate, hundreds, I'll just repeat this thing, 50s, fours and sixes, and let's fill out these remaining things as well. While we are filling out these data, make sure that you are doing the pattern like if you are using it for most runs, you are using this pattern. If you are changing it, like you are using a different portion of this table on the right hand side, most fours, sixes, 50s, so every table is going to have the different columns, and it is recommended that you follow in a proper order based on the web page source. And this is also like for example, in future IPL T20.com website decides that they need to change the layout, and they reshuffle this source code as if average is coming after the ball faced or the strike rate is coming before the ball faced. So if there is some change like that, make sure that you are also changing your code in that particular pattern. So we have fours now, and I think the sixes should be the last one. So let's do one thing. Let's simply run it once without even checking if something is working or not. I'm just running it. See, all the data is actually coming up properly. However, all the data are not stored. Your S struct is only containing one data for only one player. If you want to see, let's just use S again, and you would notice this is storing the data for the last player right now, Indian 5 Nikhil Nayak, and this should be the 100th player at this moment, Nikhil Nayak. So what we have done wrong in this is we haven't added the indication of I to the structure wherever it is changing. So I'll quickly do that. That means we are indexing I every time. Since the players are processing, let me remove this last printf. Now if you notice the workspace, this contains the structure of 100 data of these fields. If we want to observe them into the tabular format, we can directly use, let's say, let me use this T, and let me convert struct to table and use S, and let me display this table T. If you want to store the data into a mat file, you can also use, let's say, save function. For this particular function, I am using the same name, mostruns.mat. but you can use a different name as per your wish. And let's run it. So this is containing our nationality, team ID, name, match, innings, not out. Okay, I see there is some issue in highest score. Let's see what is the issue. Highest score. Okay, so there is an issue with highest score. There is any issue in... Okay, so there is some issue in average as well. Let's just observe what is that. And this is something I was thinking earlier as well. These asterisk mark, if you would have noticed earlier while I was processing this string, is actually creating issue, as if the string is not allowing. If I want to show you, let's say I have a string str which is 132 star, and I want to convert the string to number, and let me assign it to num, which is str to num of string. This is creating an empty string. What we need is, we need to split the string as if star is not part of it. So to do that, we can use multiple delimiter. This string split can use a curly bracket, and we can add one more string split with asterisk mark. This should solve the problem of highest score at least. Let's just observe that. Okay, now you will notice that the highest score is coming up. Alright, so the highest score issue is solved. For the average, is the issue similar? Let's notice there is no star mark in it. There is a dash mark, that is the issue in it. So what we can do is, if this is our average, and if this is not coming, that means if this is empty, let's just term it, if this is empty, then let's assign it the 0 value. So that's a quick fix, but depending upon any situation which you are going to face with respect to your processing of the string, you may keep on changing the code according to that particular fashion. So matches and all the data are coming up properly. Great. So now back to this portion where we have the team ID. So the team ID was 4, 1, 62 and all. We need to have the proper team name. What can we do for that? We are going to create a function. And even I was thinking, why should we actually have multiple cell character arrays? What if we can categorize in just 2 types, that is Indian and overseas? Just like team are only going to be of 8 types in 2020 season. If I include all the season, it is going to be more than in IPL history up till 2020, 13 teams have played. So you are just going to code according to the team numbers. So even before that, I'll just teach you with respect to what is categorical array. All the players within the IPL are of 2 types. One is either Indian or overseas. So let's just categorize them with categorical array. Categorical array take the cell array as the input. So they should change back to the normal version. As the input is cell array, so this changes to cell stuff, and let's run it. Now if I run it, it's directly showing me either Indian or overseas. It's not more it's not a cell array anymore. It's directly either a category of Indian or an overseas. In the same fashion, I'm going to define the different categories based on the team ID. Let's do one thing. Let's create this function. Let's say function team name, and we are going to take the input of team ID, and we are going to return num as our output. So let me save this function, and I'll just refer from here different teams. So you have, let's say if team ID is 1, then name is, so in the same pattern or what we did in Indian overseas case, I'm going to input normal bracket and then cell array of, let's say CSK. Now I don't know whether the number is 1. I'll quickly verify that. Since I don't know, I'll just remove that for the second. Let's see if, based on this character right now, Faf du Plessis, I know Faf du Plessis plays for Chinese Super Kings. At least in this season he is playing for CSK. So CSK's code is 1, so that was the proper number. Else if, now we need different team IDs, and based on that we need different names. So I'll just quickly add the name first and then I'll add the number for them. This is DC, Delhi Capital. Same pattern we are going to follow up for rest all of the teams. So after DC we have KXIP and KKR. I can see from this table KXIP have the value 4. I can also see 62, that's for Sunrisers Hyderabad, since David Warner plays for them, so its number would also come. KKR, then Mumbai Indian, Rajasthan Royals, MI, RR, RCB and SRH. We have these 4 teams. MI, RR, then RCB and then SRH. So SRH have the number 62. Else name. Now what you can do is, see, I don't recall which team, which season has been played by which team. So for example, in 2015 there used to be team of Gujarat Lions as well as Rising Pune Super Giants in 2015 or in 2016. Let's just confirm. It was in 2016, then it should be in 2016. Yes, so I can see over here. So you are going to do the same stuff. You are going to open the different season and you can simply go into the view page source. You locate that player, you find out the player's data, and you don't need to process everything this time. You just need to copy the name of the player, and post that you will be able to find out directly from that web page source which team that player is actually belonging to. So in this case I'm searching for Suresh Raina, who used to play from Gujarat Lions, which had the team ID as 433. I can see at the same time Azankya Rahane playing from Rising Pune Super Giants, and he is having a team ID 434. So I'll leave it for the time being other, for the sake of this session, this video. I'll just add up information of the remaining teams. 9 is for Virat Kohli, and Virat Kohli has been playing for RCB in this season. At least still since the beginning he is playing for RCB. So 9. Shubman Gill is playing for KKR, so mentioning that. Shreyas Iyer is playing for Delhi Capital, DC. Devdutt Palikal has been filled up. Shane Watson. So which team is pending? Let's just see that. MINRR. So MINRR. So MI should be 6 and RR should be 8. So with this, we should be able to get the team name, but we also need to change the code over here. Let's say team name and assign through this part, and let's run it. So now you are able to notice this pattern. However, I can see there is some issue. 9 is for RCB, 5 is for KKR. So this number actually I mentioned it wrongly, and I guess they should correct it. Alright, so all the players are being shown up. If you want to see it even in the larger pattern. So we have the different nationality, team ID, name. I did not use categorical for name because all the names are going to be different only. I am not expecting the 100 top players to have the same name coming again. If they would have matched the same name, then even we could have thought of, but that doesn't make any sense. And then we have got the different data into our MATLAB now. So we have received MATLAB data and we have been able to process this easily using the code into MATLAB, this IPL's data into MATLAB. I guess you are able to do the same in your system. If you are still struggling and if you are not able to do any conversion, please post it in the comment section below and we will take it up. And if you find it helpful, please make sure to like this video. Make sure to watch our next video, within which Vishaka is going to talk about how we can utilize this data and create it in the application format. Before ending this video, I would like to show you how you can visualize this data into MATLAB. So for example, let me first convert it into a function format. So what I am doing is I am using a function, and let me just name it the same way, function most runs. And right now I am not giving it as an input URL, but if you are actually processing it for multiple URLs, you should give a URL as an input. That's recommended way, and that should end it. This thing works. So let's create a main script this time, and what we are going to do is we are going to call, let's just say, table T. So T gets the data over here, and once the data is received, what if we are going to categorize or we want to visualize the players from it? So let's just say pie chart of table of team ID. Let's see that. Now this is giving me an indication of how many players of different teams are coming into this table, and this is indicating that statistics. If I want to convert this to different based on the different players, for example, for the sake of trial, let's just convert this stats rather than by season. Let me take it to all time. Currently I am assuming that the players are going to be here, so let me take it to the most runs over here. Alright, and let me do it in this way. I'll take the URL here and I'll pass the URL from here, and this URL has been commented and I'm expecting URL inputted from this place. Let's see what happens now. So this same code which we actually built for the most runs from the season of from the data of IPL 2020, I use the same pattern. Now what's happening is, based on this most runs data, the IPL website actually showcase only the top 100 values at a time. Now from the top 100, the first if you just notice this pattern, 16% are from Mumbai Indians, 11% are from Rajasthan Royals, 14% from CSK and all. RCB has 8% player who are in the top run scorers, although the first player is of RCB, that is Virat Kohli, but other players aren't here who should be there in terms of number. So with this quick example, you were able to notice one of the scenario about the most runs from this team. What if I'm not just doing this? Let's say I just wanted to extract the players of CSK only, for example. So you got this URL, you have got the table now. Let's say I want the data where the data is of so t.team ID is equal to CSK. Let's say this is my index, which is based on this pattern. Let's comment this and let's run it. Now if I show the index, here I got an index of these players. I'll use the same index now and I'll create a new team based on new table actually based on this T of index. And let's see. Okay, so this should correct it. We need rest of the element as well. So these are all different players of CSK using those categories. Now you had different data set over here. Now there are certain issues in it. For example, I noticed within the boldface this is showing some extra information, and this must be due to some of the additional part. Okay, this is happening due to comma. That's again is not possible to convert directly. So we can add some or another way to distinguish between these data set. It can be done, but the main portion is you are getting the data set now, and let's say you want to showcase how many matches has been played by different players. So let me show you bar chart of CSK's teams matches. So based on these 14 players who has scored the maximum runs, that are these among 100 top run scorers till now, the matches played are as shown around 200 and all. So these are some quick examples. In this portion, like I have shown you a very small glimpse of how we are going to utilize MATLAB in order to visualize things in a different fashion. Further, from the next video and further series parts, Vishaka is going to cover how you can create the application entirely based on this structure, and hopefully you will find this hard videos as well helpful. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For any queries, post it in the comment section below.